Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We'll talk to J.D. Pickell in 15 minutes. We'll talk SEC football power rankings at the bottom of the hour. So plenty to do here on this Wednesday. Officially half the work week in the rearview mirror. Thanks for hanging out with us here on what's another wild week. We'll tell you it's not going to be the bulk of this segment because I want to talk LSU here. But Zach Alaverdi, who covers Florida, who's been on this show a number of times, is reporting that Florida is meeting with John Sumrall about their head coaching vacancy. So Tulane's head coach going to have some conversations with the folks at Florida. You can read into that whatever you'd like. My choice to read into it is that Florida is currently in the midst of trying to hire a new football coach, and they're going to assess some options. So I think it would probably suggest, if Zach's report is right, I have no reason to doubt that it is, that Lane Kiffin has not agreed to a deal with Florida. I think it would make sense that if Lane Kiffin had agreed to a deal with Florida, they're probably not going to interview John Sumrall. But I'm assuming that's probably not the case. So they'll continue to look. And my guess would be that Verge Osbury has got some other phone numbers available to him that he'll look into as well. So we'll kind of leave that there. I want to talk about this aspect of it. The money. A lot of people are discussing the money. And before I get into the specifics of money, I want to have a big picture money talk. Because the thing that I find fascinating is the authority with which people speak about the money and what I deem to be unknowns about the money. And people that have the unknowns, they still speak in authority about the money. Like, I know confidently I could speak to you. I probably won't, but I could speak to you in terms of what the Palmer family needs to be spending on groceries. I know how many people we have. I know what our income is. I know what our expenses are. I know what groceries cost. Like, this is what we should spend. We should not spend that much, way too much. We can't really work off of that much, and I'd rather have better food than that. So this is what we should probably spend. I can speak confidently about that. But I also hear LSU fans, and I have these conversations all the time. So, like, it's just, when I say LSU fans, it's not like complete generality. Like, I'm speaking to actual people. And I tell them, well, there are reports that you're looking at $13 million for Lane Kiffin because that's in the range Kirby Smart is. And I hear LSU fans, well, you can't spend $13 million on a coach. Like, then how are you going to pay the players? And I would say, yeah, I think if you spend $4 million on a coach, you'll probably have more in your collective than if you have $13 million. But do you know where the cutoff is where you can't spend money on players? I don't. Hunt doesn't know. I went on after they fired Brian Kelly and I said, hey, I'm done saying LSU doesn't have any money because every time they need money, they get money. Buy Ogeron out. Done. Hire a new coach, Kelly, $95 million. Hire that staff. Okay, fire the defensive coordinator and the rest of his staff. Done. Hire a new one. Done. Now we got to pay the players. Kelly says we got to buy. Let's go get portal class. Done. Well, that portal class comes in. Kelly, his buyout's massive. Can't pay it. Done. Like, I'm just going off what I see. I don't see the couch cushions emptying out. Now, you could maybe point to the fact that Brian Kelly's suing the school because they're trying not to pay the buyout, but, like, I don't know why they're trying to do that. Maybe it's just business and they're trying to save money because saving money is what you're supposed to do. Maybe it's not that they're running out. They're just trying to save. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't know. I know LSU continues to make these decisions. I don't know how much money LSU has or who's spending it. So I can't speak too authoritatively about that. I also do know, this is another I know, The rules today are not the same as they was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, you could go to any portal player or any high school player and say, how much do you need? Okay, I have that done, and write the check and hand it to them. That was the rules allowed for that. They technically said you weren't supposed to use it as a recruiting inducement, but nobody enforced that because you couldn't. So you could pay a quarterback $7 million if you wanted to. Bryce Underwood, who knows what he made? You can pay him $10 million. You got a long snapper you really like, 10 grand, 100 grand, love it. Wide receiver, $1 million, signed. You could pay anybody whatever you wanted then. You can't do that now under the rules. The rules say the clearinghouse has to approve the name, image, and likeness deals these players come across. Now, that does not mean that under-the-table stuff can't happen, but it's not the complete wild, wild west it was 3 years ago. I know that. I don't know how those recruiting conversations are going down. I don't know that. But I know that it's not quite what it was a couple of years ago. You had to front-load this year's class until that deadline came in the summer, and then you had to have everything approved by Deloitte. So, it's not the wild, wild west anymore. Stand to reason, now I'm speculating, but speculating from a place of knowing the rules, that's probably calmed down a little bit. Not completely. It's not gone, but it's probably calmed down a little bit, where it was just legal to write checks to anybody who would take them. And you've seen collectives dissolve, literally. Now, there are rules that you can pay high school kids, and you still need funds for that. And I'm not suggesting nobody's paying players. They're paying players. But it's a different system than it was a couple of years ago. And then also you've got the revenue sharing piece. The LSU is toward the top of the sport nationally. They're tied with all the SEC teams. They're toward the top nationally in terms of what they can share revenue-wise with their players. My point being, as I put a bow on this whole deal, I don't know how much money LSU has. I don't know how close paying a coach $13 million would be to compromising what you can spend on everything else in the football program. Assistants, players, high school recruits, facilities, buyouts. You've still got to pay Brian Kelly, probably. So I don't know how prohibitive the rest of the spending is if you spend 13 as opposed to spending 8. I know that you have $5 million more, but how prohibitive is it? That matters. And then I keep going back to this point, the coach is the most important thing in college football. The coach is the most important thing. And a winning coach creates more revenue, creates more fan interest, creates more donations, creates that fertile ground of fundraising that you need. And the other thing that I know is that you're not hiring in a vacuum. And I've gotten some buddies that have texted me why don't you hire a coach for $3 million with an escalator based on wins? The governor said this. Well, why don't you just say you get such and such per win? And if you win a national championship, you get $5 million on top of that. Well, that sounds awesome, but you're in a marketplace. So if you're trying to hire a coach and you're trying to do that, and it sounds great. I would much rather not pay people $50 million because they lost too much and I don't want them to coach. That sounds good to me. But you're in a marketplace and you've got to hire them from places. And LSU is not hiring the offensive coordinator from a high school down the street who'd just be thrilled to take the job for $1 million. You're competing with Florida. So if Florida's got her offer on the table for 7 years and $91 million, and you come in and say, hey, man, check this out. You win the Natty, we'll give you a $5 million bonus. Now, your base salary is $3 million, and we'll give you $1 million every second SEC win. And then if you win the SEC and you get in the playoff, we'll escalate it right here. And then Florida's yeah, I just got the $93 million. You're going to lose. You're still competing in the marketplace. So all these ideas, I just push back on. I like to work off what I know. I know that LSU's always found the money. I know that the rules have changed a little bit as far as paying players. I know that now some of your roster is being paid by LSU's athletic revenue, which it wasn't last year. I know that you're in a marketplace to hire coaches. And when I work off of those, it's just hard for me to go, well, just do it completely differently. Just hire the young guy who's 41, pay him a base of 4, and then incentivize the whole thing. He's going to laugh and go take the Penn State job, in my opinion. So I'm a little bit puzzled by the confidence with which LSU fans speak to the money aspect of this. I stand here in front of a microphone with no pride. I'm just like, I don't know who's cutting these checks or how much money LSU has. And when I feel like we get a Freedom of Information request that suggests that LSU is paying a football coach $3.4 million per year that nobody really knew of until they started the search, then at that point I'll go, oh, that $800,000 a month they're paying Brian Kelly, that's taking up a lot of their pool of money. They can't really spend. They screwed up that contract, and it's really set the football program back. I'll say that if that comes out. I just haven't seen that yet. So I'm not going to work off the assumption that LSU just simply can't function the football program if they sign a coach to a $13 million a year contract. And I'm not going to suggest that there's just no money to pay players if they do it. You've already got $20 million allocated out of the revenue. Then whatever you can drum up in revenue sharing, in NIL, and I know that LSU's brand is pretty powerful and that LSU athletes are able to get NIL deals. And that LSU does have a department that is, with Playfly, that is helping push people to these big deals. I'm not saying I know all the answers. I'm saying I don't. And that I think that LSU understands, like I do with my groceries, where they stand financially. And they're not going to make a decision they simply cannot make financially. And you might look up and say, well, what about Brian Kelly? It seems like they made it work. Until they haven't made it work, I'm working off the assumption that they can. I said it, just that, it's an assumption. That's all the information I've got at this point. Let's talk to J.D. Pickell next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Wall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Closet space can be a big deal. What about a brand new custom closet for Christmas? Might be a game changer in your house. We moved, improved our closet space significantly. It was a game changer. You don't have to move to do it. You can just call David Vaughn, One Bath and Closets. Let him come in. It starts with the consultation and a questionnaire. He asks you kind of what you got, what are we looking for? He'll design something specifically tailored to your needs. Look at the website. You'll see pictures of their great work. It looks awesome aesthetically. It functions exactly the way you want it to. And they do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. A lot of contractors may try to move quickly, get to that next job, take your check. Something's not right. 5 weeks later, we'll come back, fix that. Never going to happen with David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. He makes you that promise. So go to onebathandclosets.com, request that free consultation. Just talk to David about what he can do for you. I think you'll be thrilled with the result. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. J.D. Pickell, On 3 Sports, host of the Hard Count. On 3's YouTube channel is with us on Wednesdays. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing better now. It's so dark. We only have 2 regular season weekends left, man. We're going to enjoy it.
As far as we know, there's no football left. It's just staring at FlightAware and looking at teleconference transcripts and trying to figure out what Twitter posts mean. So you want to weigh in on any of that?
Man, the Lane Kiffin stuff has been fun to track, hasn't it? I mean, it's at every turn he has a chance to say, "Nope, staying at Ole Miss. I love Oxford. I love it here." Nope, just jump on McAfee and chop it up a little bit. Talk about how I'm excited to be at Ole Miss this week, and we'll see what the future holds. The longer this thing goes, Hunt, I originally was like, why leave Ole Miss? You don't need to leave Ole Miss. I don't think he leaves Ole Miss. The longer this goes and the less declaration we get that he's not leaving Ole Miss, I'm leaning towards him jumping ship and going somewhere else, but we'll see.
You want to throw a guess on that, and then we can talk about real football?
I mean, I'm on radio in Baton Rouge right
You
now.
are?
Would it be sacrilegious to say LSU? I mean,
No.
to not say LSU rather. I mean, I'll put it this way. I think if the heart wants what it wants and he wants to be at Florida, then there's no way to quantify that. I know there's family ties there. I know he coached in the state of Florida. I've even read articles that say his son Knox is a Gator fan. Like, if that's the case, I can't quantify that. If it's about winning national championships and it's about being somewhere with the best GM in college football and they won Austin Thomas, like, I think LSU makes the most sense. So I'll go ahead and for the sake of this conversation and for the sake of where I'm at on radio right now, I'll go ahead and say LSU.
All right, we'll see. We're sitting there watching it day after day after day after day. Let's talk about what we've seen on the field. How about the Oklahoma Sooners and where they're positioned at this point? I did not see that coming.
No, I did not see that coming either. Not in the slightest. I think it's a testament to what Brent Venables has been able to do as a head coach. Like, that was one of the storylines that I feel like got discussed sort of lightly at SEC Media Days, but as much as we got excited about John Mateer and what he could be, there was always this sort of like negative back row talk about, well, but is Brent Venables really a head coach? We know he's a great coordinator. Is he truly a head coach? And I think this year, especially post-Ole Miss, to be able to get your team back in the right winning state of mind and to be able to pitch two defensive performances where you have 6 turnovers combined, like, I think what he's done to this point is irrefutable when it comes to his chops as a head coach. And I think that's the biggest storyline to me because they've clearly played at a different competitive temperature, and that's made the difference in the last 2 spots on the road.
If you had to pick one team to win the national championship of these two, you only take one, Texas A&M or Georgia, who would you take?
I'd take Georgia, man. And I would not have said that a couple of weeks ago. I probably would have told you I don't know about Georgia's defense. I don't know about the ability to play 4-quarter games, but the way they've looked the last couple of weeks, man, they just look they're at a different speed than everyone else, don't they? Like, if you told Georgia we got to play 5 more games in the regular season, sorry, we had to extend it. The greedy TV people stepped in and gave you a longer season. They'd be like, okay, cool. Where? Parking lot? Backyard? Tomorrow? We will play anybody, anywhere, anytime. We'll be happy doing it. Feels like a lot of teams are running out of gas right now, Hunt. I think Georgia's just getting better and hitting their stride. And I tell you what, I wouldn't want to play them. I think the Kirby traits, I think the way the defense is settled in footing-wise, it feels like they're just looking a little bit more of a cohesive unit. Gunnar Stockton deserves Heisman buzz. I'll take Georgia to win the national championship if I'm given those 2 options.
Let's talk about the playoff rankings last night. What do you make of Tulane jumping in?
So I have a producer for our show that played Sun Belt football at App State, and he made the point on our show. He's like, hey, if you're actually watching these games, Tulane and the American Athletic just overall looks like a better product. I wonder if the committee is going to say, less losses for a Sun Belt team in JMU or better overall product, better overall football being played in the American Athletic and what Tulane's doing. So I guess the big takeaway for me is good for the committee for watching football, huh? Just not tracking standings, actually watching the games. I can't speak to the watch parties that the committee is having because last year it looked abysmal. There was no snacks, there was no apps, there was nobody standing, there was no parlays going. However, they are watching games. I feel good about that, and I feel good that Tulane's in the mix here.
First of all, I want to be very clear. Like, I don't care about Tulane at all. I think there are maybe some LSU fans that don't like Tulane. They're not even on my radar in the least. I just look at the resume, and I look at a team that was completely non-competitive in Oxford and got annihilated by Texas San Antonio. And I go, does that team need to be in my playoff? Like, my answer is no. How do you feel about the G5/G6 invitation on the back end?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble here, brother.
Yeah.
You're going to get me in trouble here. That's fine. I mean, I think you're saying the quiet part out loud. And, like, I think unless we have a G5 team show up and consistently be what Boise State was last year, where it's like, hey, they could actually not just make the playoff and make some noise, then, like, okay, we can have a different discussion. I don't like that we allocate a spot specifically to the highest-ranked G5 champ when we're admitting in real time last night, hey, we think they're the 24th best team in college football. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. We think that, but why do they get a spot at the top 12? Like, I am in the camp of let's reward teams, let's not reward conferences. If we go to a year where there's 3 G5 teams that look like the top 12 teams in college football, put all 3 of them in. I have no problem doing that. But when we're handing out, like, participation trophies, I don't like that formatting. And that goes for the G5. That goes for every conference as well. The ACC, the Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10. Like, we don't need to allocate spots to conferences. We need to allocate spots to teams. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I agree with that completely. Let's move to this coming Saturday. Does Lincoln Riley's team have a chance at Austin Stadium in Eugene?
I definitely think they do. I think it's interesting when you look at how Oregon got their regular season loss this year to Indiana. USC doesn't have maybe the same juice as Indiana does at the spots that rattled Oregon, but they have kind of that same formula. Indiana got Dante Moore off his spot. USC's got a top 15 sack rate in college football. Indiana made plays on the perimeter with Elijah Surratt going over 100 yards. USC's got two receivers that I think both deserve a lot more national attention in Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon. So there's a world here where USC applies the pressure. Oregon has to abandon the run game a little bit because USC scoring points, and then just all heck is breaking loose. And we got a little Matt Berry update coming in hot at 3:30 Eastern on our Saturday. So I think there's definitely a world where that happens. I think that 9.5 number is way too big, favoring the Ducks. I like Oregon to still win, but I do think USC hangs around and covers.
JD Pickell is our guest, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. You can catch him on YouTube daily, talking football. 11 o'clock, ABC, Norman, Oklahoma. Missouri heads there. Oklahoma's gotten a couple huge road wins. Any chance they're sleeping while Missouri comes in, or are they going to be ready to go on their home field?
Big chance they're sleeping. This is such a treacherous spot. We just talked about it on our show. 11 a.m. local. You just had 2 emotionally draining wins on the road. You come back home. Everyone's telling you you're a playoff team. And you got to play the best running back in college football, not named Jeremiah Love. Like, that to me, I don't like the way that shapes out. Same kind of deal as last game we just previewed. I think Oklahoma wins. I think they find a gritty way to get it done. But 9.5 for Missouri, I think they cover that number.
Well, certainly. See, and there's just not a lot more to chew on this slate on Saturday as far as top 25 games go. I don't think that you would see an issue with Vanderbilt beating Kentucky. I don't know that I think there are a lot of sleepy spots for the other teams, like maybe Georgia Tech hosting Pittsburgh. Is that one that you would look at as a chance for them to trip up?
You know, I'm looking at that game from Miami. I'm saying, hey, let's go, Pitt. We're going to play y'all next week. Can we get you ranked? Because Miami, there's a 6% chance they make the ACC title game. But if they're trying to audition for an at-large spot, they were 13 last night, Hunt. Like, I keep saying to myself, there's no way. And then after last night, I'm like, Miami might do this. Like, Miami's one break away and looking good with some style points here in the last couple of weeks from finding their way in as an at-large spot and being ahead of Notre Dame when they get in the same comparative pool. So I'll track that one, obviously, because we're just college football sickos, but I'll also track that one if I'm a Miami fan trying to find our way into this field of 12.
And the last one here, Virginia Tech hires James Franklin to kind of jump into the pool first here. What did you think of that hire fit and how it goes?
I think it was a home run for Virginia Tech, which home run gets overused, but legitimately he built that Penn State roster, yes, through Pennsylvania, but through the DMV area. I think he picks up where he left off there. My biggest takeaway, Hunt, from this was Florida State. What are you doing messing around with Mike Norvell still? Yeah. And I love Mike Norvell, but like you just said, they jumped in the pool first. Florida State's still fully clothed outside the pool gate, like deciding if they actually want to go inside and take a look at the water. Like the fact they are messing around right now and getting the guy they should have hired away from them in the conference is abysmal, absolutely abysmal. And that was my biggest takeaway was Florida State needs to figure it out.
We'll see if we're talking football next week or new LSU coach, and I have no idea at this point, but it's a week away. We'll get there when we get there. JD, enjoy another weekend of football. We'll talk next week.
Appreciate you, Hunt. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. He's JD Pickell of On 3 Sports. We'll come back with some SEC football power rankings next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Comes with America's best warranty. You make a purchase at Genesis of Baton Rouge, you're getting a powertrain warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. You're getting 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper. The peace of mind that comes with that, knowing that you don't have to bring it into the shop and what's that going to cost? It's under warranty. Talking about 24/7 roadside assistance. So no matter where you may be feeling stranded, you're not. They're coming to get you. And then, of course, you get the complimentary scheduled maintenance for 3 years, 36,000 miles. Valet for those 3 years. So they come to you. They pick the car up, bring it back, get the oil changed, get the wiper fluids, get the air filter done. They bring it back to you, complimentary. You never lift a finger, and while they're at it, you get a loaner. So it's awesome peace of mind, awesome customer service, just part of being a Genesis driver. Find them airline at Pickell or online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Kind of a reset today's show. If you missed at the top of the show, Lane Kiffin was on the SEC football teleconference earlier today, and he took 11 questions on the LSU-Florida situation. Some of them he answered, and I thought probably stepped out of bounds on. Some of them he said, I'm not going to talk about that. But we talked about it at the top of the show. If you missed it, it's on YouTube, Hunt on LSU. We actually went to Gainesville and talked to reporter and Graham Hall, who covers Florida for 24/7, kind of got the Gainesville perspective, and he put Kiffin to Florida at 70%. Well, since he said that, Zach Alberti, who's with On 3, said that Florida was now reaching out to John Summerall. And I don't suggest that I'm telling you that if Florida's calling John Summerall, they clearly know Lane Kiffin's not going there. Like, that's possible, but I'm certainly not reporting that. I think that it's conceivable that Florida's just doing a coaching search. They fired their coach. We're talking to Lane Kiffin. We've made an offer there. Let's talk to some other people and see if we can make sure. Because you are, I hope LSU is talking to multiple people, right? Because you can't be just standing there at the altar holding your hands and then like, hey, he says, well, I'm going to stay at Ole Miss or I'm going to go to Florida. And you're like, well, now what? And you got Penn State in the market, and you've got Auburn in the market, and you got Arkansas in the market, and we'll see what Florida State does. And like, you got to figure out what you're doing. So hopefully LSU's having the same conversations that it appears Florida's having. We'll figure out, I guess, in time what Lane Kiffin decides he is doing. We're writing about it at LouisianaSports.net. We're talking about it here. If you want the LSU-centric pieces to our content, you can find it at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast. Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Let's do some SEC football power rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings.
Texas A&M! Look, it was a bad first half. Awful first half. Very good second half, and teams play bad halves. They should have paid more dearly for their atrocious half. They didn't, because South Carolina should disband the football program immediately and fire their coach and really send everyone on their way after that disgraceful second half performance. But A&M won the game. I'll leave them where they are.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia moves up to number 2. Nice job there. Alabama had occupied that spot. Bulldogs really flexed their muscles on Texas. Texas is talented. They've got issues on offense, but Georgia overpowered them on both sides of the football. That's impressive. I asked J.D. Pickell about what he thought was a national championship contender. I believe that for Georgia right now. I've got them at 2.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
I can't just leave Oklahoma sitting there anymore. Like, that's going on the road to Neyland and winning, going on the road to Bryant-Denny and winning. Their quarterback's healthy now. I really think that compromised them against Texas. How much? Who knows? But it mattered. That's impressive stuff by Oklahoma. They're a good football team. They got a great defense and a veteran quarterback. I don't know that I'm telling you that they're a true national championship threat right now, but they're right now a real playoff threat. And I don't know if LSU is going to derail them next week. So impressive stuff by Brent Venables. Got them at 3.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
I'll leave Lane Kiffin's team at 4. Their only loss is on the road at Georgia, who's a championship contender, and they led that game by double digits, or by 2 scores in the fourth quarter. They're good. Their coach is good. I hope he doesn't coach any more games at Ole Miss, and I hope he coaches a lot at LSU. It's a good team. Whether or not they're going to win the Egg Bowl, coach with an interim guy or Lane Kiffin, or go to the playoffs with Lane Kiffin, I don't know what's going to go on, but the body of work they put together and the team that's going to practice today, that's 4th in the SEC.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Back to Alabama up to number 5. They were at 2. They got issues. They can't run the ball. They don't stop the run great. That's a bad recipe when you start playing really good teams. You got to play Georgia again. You got to play Ole Miss. You got to play Ohio State. You got to play some of these teams that can really play defense and can really run the ball. Could be trouble. Oklahoma can play defense, and they run it a little bit. They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So the Tide, not a disaster, not out of the playoff, but I got them at 5.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols at 6. Not any really impressive wins on the resume. They lead the SEC in passing. They've got an identity on offense. Their defense is not great, but this is where you start to get to the significant flaws. I've got Tennessee at number 6.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
I'm going to pick Tennessee to beat Vanderbilt next week, I think. So I'm not going to move Vanderbilt ahead of them and then make that proclamation. We'll see what the line is, what I pick for a number. Not that that matters. I'll lose the game anyway. But I think Vanderbilt's a little bit worse than Tennessee. I think they're good. I think they're a threat to make the playoff. They're going to beat Kentucky this week, I think, and then we'll see what happens in Knoxville. Vanderbilt at number 7.
The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri, look, quarterback's out. You can still run the ball very well. The defense is pretty good. We'll see what happens with their coach. Not any impressive wins, not any significant wins by my estimation. I don't give you a ton of credit for running Mississippi State off the field. They're right in the middle of the pack, 8.
The Texas Longhorns.
Texas gets dinged for last week. I was creeping them up. The offense looked like they were playing well. You trust the defense, and then they go to Athens. Just get punked. And like, they're not the only team that's going to go to Athens and get punked. Kirby's lost there one time in the last 4 years, maybe 5. It was Bama this year. Tough place to play, but Texas proved on Saturday they're not among the nation's elite. And so you bump them back to 9 in this.
The LSU Tigers.
Tigers win with a backup quarterback, beat Arkansas, played pretty well on defense to do it, not enough to move them up considerably. And the teams behind LSU, I think, are bad football teams. LSU's not a bad football team, they're just not a very good one.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Whatever. I mean, Kentucky's here at 11. I think they're bad. I think they're real bad. But they beat Florida by 1,000. So I'm not going to just immediately move Florida up. And Florida looks lost anyway. So I don't know what else to do with Kentucky but put them at 11th. I shudder at that thought because of how little I think of Kentucky. But I don't have another place to put them.
The Florida Gators.
I mentioned this. Kentucky embarrassed Florida 2 weeks ago. What am I supposed to just forget all about that? Like, Florida's got some talent, and they played Ole Miss tough last week. But, Kentucky played Ole Miss tough in the beginning of the season. So I can't, in good conscience. I don't always go head-to-head. But this head-to-head was pretty recent, and it was 1,000-7. So I got Florida back at number 12.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Just when State was making some progress under Jeff Levy, just when I thought they were moving up the pecking order, playing pretty well, playing teams tough, got their first win in 18 tries, you go to Missouri, face a backup quarterback, and it's just a whitewashing. Tough for State, but the teams behind them, not very good.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas couldn't even score on Saturday. That's supposed to be their thing, is scoring points, and they couldn't score any points on LSU. Taylor Green's still good. They don't ever win. They haven't won a game yet. They're lucky I don't put them at 16, but I can't put them ahead of Mississippi State right now.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
They're lucky. They're lucky I don't put them last. I probably should put them last, but I think the team behind them is real stinky. But that second half, that's embarrassing. You know what? Change the power ranking. South Carolina's last.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn's now 15th. That's the first ever mid-power rankings shift in the rankings.
It's an honor to do that.
Auburn is 15th and South Carolina is 16th for that second half. Auburn, terrible football team. Decent defense, atrocious offense, second quarterback, DJ Durkin, interim coach, looking for another coach. Don't know what they're going to do. Is Summerall going to go there? I don't know. Reasonably talented, really good wide receivers. Can't win a game. Got them at 15. And then South Carolina 16.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Take your place, Gamecocks. I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed for Shane Beamer. Embarrassed for the entire state of South Carolina. You think I'm salty about that second half?
I mean, you should be, Hunt. I mean...
It was 30-3.
Exactly. But, deep down, I know you knew deep down in your heart.
I did. I said it.
You knew.
It was 30-3. And, I didn't even think for a second South Carolina was going to win that game. And then the first drive of the second half, A&M goes right down the field for a touchdown, and you look at it and go, now it's 30-10. That's striking distance. Now it's 30-17. Yeah. We'll forget it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like they ran any clock or made it tough on A&M. Just
3 and outs.
Right down the field every time.
Yeah.
Awful. Disgraceful.
But I will say this. Even though you just bumped Auburn up, and I know you're down and out on Auburn.
Yes, I am.
I'm feeling pretty confident about Auburn against Bama Iron Bowl. I don't know. A lot of weird stuff happens.
Weird things happen in the Iron Bowl. Not this time.
I don't know. It's at nighttime, too. Hey, just remember this 2 weeks ago that Jordan said, I like Auburn in that game.
These might be our last power rankings.
Oh, well.
Because, well, maybe I could do it after the regular season concludes. I can. Because, next week is really condensed. We don't have Thursday, Friday shows.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do picks on Wednesday. So I probably won't do power rankings and picks.
You should.
People need my picks to fade them to get wealthy for Christmas presents. So I can't eliminate the picks segment.
Okay, so I see you still have your week 1. You should just compare your week 1 to the last year.
I do. That's how we do it. And I don't know what the week 1 says. I guess I'll got to take a look at that down the. I got a feeling things are a little out of whack.
Oh yeah, I just looked. They are out of whack. So that would be a good. That'd be a good.
I'm
segment.
sure Vanderbilt's last.
Let's see. No, it's not. You was actually kind of.
Did I have State last?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, State, not good. They're going to go 1-7. That's still not very good. All right, that's it for Power Rankings here on this Wednesday, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We'll step aside. I promised some baseball talk. You're getting 3 minutes of baseball talk before Take It or Leave It when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fired up to tell you about our friends over at Marucci and the Hitter's House here in Baton Rouge. It's an incredible warehouse sale that is coming up in the near future. You're not going to want to miss Hitter's House. This is going to be an incredible opportunity at savings on awesome baseball and softball equipment. Coming up on November the 28th is the start. So you're looking at right after Thanksgiving. If you've got some youth baseball players in your house, some youth softball players in your house, you're going to want to step by so many great brands and products. Marucci, Victus, Balm, Lizard Skins, The Stable. Marucci and Victus are the official bats of Major League Baseball. You get the best deals on top baseball equipment right there at Marucci's Hitter's House. Fast pitch athletes, you already know about the Marucci Osora. You got to come check it out. The hottest new fast pitch is taking over. You can get it at the Hitter's House. You can go on the Marucci campus tour. You get 20% off in the Hitter's House that same day. So for more information and tickets for the campus tour to get your savings, additional savings at this incredible event, go to maruccisports.com/campus-tour. That's maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Y'all know about Marucci. You know they're incredible people, incredible operation here in Baton Rouge. Go check out the Hitter's House in Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Promise you a little bit of baseball. I'll give you a little bit of baseball here, about 3 minutes. If you like to read about baseball, you can at louisianasports.net. I have a little piece up on what I saw on Sunday out at the box. I was most impressed with William Schmidt and his outing back on Sunday. Really thought he threw the ball excellently well. Fastball is consistently in around 95, 96, bumping up to 97 miles an hour. Really commanding the baseball. The breaking ball was excellent. He was throwing a loopier breaking ball and then a harder breaking ball. And he had 5 strikeouts that I saw in that outing, which was really impressive. I really liked what I saw from him in that outing. He is competing with a lot of guys for spots that I contend right now are behind Kason Evans. I think Kason Evans is very clearly the lead dog in this pitching rotation, but there are a lot of guys behind him. I think Zach Cowan is an obvious choice behind him. I did not see him pitch this weekend. I think that Cooper Moore from Kansas, who was their ace last year, who's very similar to Zach Cowan, and that he's kind of a right-hander, low 90s, change-ups, breaking balls, starter profile. Those two guys, I think, are obviously in the mix. Then there are a number of other guys. Like I would forget somebody if I wanted to start rattling off names. But Schmidt is right there in the middle of that for sure. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about his potential, and I'm excited about the fact that he's not going to be asked to do something that is out of his comfort zone at this point. He's not going to be thrust into a duty. He might be given an opportunity, but he's not going to be thrust into a duty. And I think that's great. He's got to take a jump because he didn't throw nearly enough strikes last year in SEC play. The numbers were awful last year as far as throwing strikes in SEC play. But when you consider the stuff that I saw, it was awesome to watch on Saturday. He was locked in and looked really impressive, and hopefully that continues. I want to be clear about what he was facing on the opposition. Stephen Milam didn't play Sunday. Jake Brown didn't play Sunday. Derek Curiel didn't play Sunday. Chris Stanfield didn't play Sunday. Zach York didn't play Sunday. A lot of the guys that LSU is going to count on in their lineup were not in either lineup, as they were kind of World Series thing, the Chief versus Jamie World Series. But still, the fastball topping out at 98 and getting six. He struck out 6 in 5 innings, I should say. That's impressive stuff. Every out he got was via the strikeout. I liked what I saw from a couple of left-handed pitchers from LSU on Sunday. Ethan Plog and Santiago Garcia. Plog's a junior college guy. Garcia's from Oregon. Plog is one of those goofy lefties. Got kind of elbows and kneecaps flying around. He short arms the ball. It's a weird left-handed at bat. I think that's a guy that can be used in short stints. Garcia's a little bit more traditional. He's got a more fluid wind up, a little bit more high-end stuff, but it just doesn't have the deception. I checked in with somebody in the program after I watched that on Thursday, and just kind of said that these guys look kind of like leveraged left-handers that they could have big bullpen roles, and that was exactly the sentiment. Got a long way to go before we get there, but the feeling was that those two guys could be counted on as left-handed bullpen options. You've certainly got other lefties on the staff. You've got Cooper Williams, obviously, and so I think they're okay from a left-handed perspective. So there's a little baseball for you here on this Wednesday. Now take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Just looking at 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, light, refreshing, crisp, flavorful, everything you're looking for in a light beer. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
Okay, we're going to start this off with something we haven't done before with hockey. So Florida,
my goodness.
Yeah. So Florida Panthers player Eetu Luostarinen, I had to go look that up on Reddit how to pronounce it, is out for a week because of severe burns he received in a barbecue accident. Barbecue burns, take it or leave it.
I mean, I don't have a choice to take it. The guy got injured. He's out there trying to whip something up, and he's not being careful enough. It's like I tell my soon-to-be 4-year-old all the time, are you being careful? Yeah. No, we got to be careful. I have not suffered a significant kitchen incident yet with the amount of cooking I've done. I felt like I was close on the knife-to-finger situation at times.
I've seen that before.
And certainly there's been a situation where it's been a little bit hot, but never like a, hey, I can't go play hockey. It's too burned.
From grilling.
That's a bad scene.
Bad scene. So speaking of bad scenes, Kendrick Perkins said, I think this was yesterday, on the Road Trippin' podcast that Zion Williamson is a culture killer. And this is where I quote, Zion completely effed up that organization since they drafted him, top to bottom. You can't depend on him. Is Perk spitting? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it.
Leave it alone.
He's not blameless.
Yeah, he's not blameless.
Like, what piece of the pie is his? You got Gale, you got Lauscha, you got...
Yeah, David Griffin before you had Joe Dumars.
Yeah, David Griffin. You got, obviously, Willie Green.
Yeah,
you've got B.I. Yeah. You've got... I mean, there's just a lot. And then you got Lady Luck as well. Like, whatever. It's not great over there. So, Zion's not blameless here, but I'm certainly not throwing 88% of it on him. He's a top pick. He's a monster talent. He hasn't stayed healthy. How much of that is because he's not in shape? How much of it is bad luck? How much because he's just a genetic freak? Who's to say? I'm not absolving him, but it's not as bad. He didn't destroy the organization.
No, I mean, this organization was already destroyed, but he definitely ain't elevated us. He definitely ain't the savior that he was promised to be.
No, he's not.
Okay, last but not least, you're a relationship guy. You and Cassie, relationships. Bill Belichick was spotted at cheerleading competition in Raleigh, North Carolina, supporting his girlfriend Jordan Hudson, who is a member of a co-ed adult cheerleading team. This is a good boyfriend move. Take it or leave it.
I'm torn on this, honestly.
Why are you torn, man?
Here's the deal.
It's a good boyfriend.
They're not in everyone's situation. He's worth tens of millions of dollars.
73.
He's 73. He's a celebrity.
Jordan's my age.
She doesn't really need to be doing the adult cheerleading thing. Like, I feel like I'm not being fair to her here, but like, that's just not where he needs to be. Go do something more fun than that.
it's not a good boyfriend, but it's support, man. You know, got to support my girlfriend.
This relationship doesn't work. It doesn't work if she's on the adult cheerleading team and this famous 73-year-old is over there miserable in the corner in some hooded sweatshirt.
In the corner, yeah.
This doesn't work. These two people do not need to spend any more time together. It doesn't work. Find someone else.
Well, we're going to have to
Leave it alone.
We'll leave it, and that's it for Take It or Leave It.
I would have. This is the last guy in sports I would have thought this would have come from.
100%.
He can't even be bothered to answer a reasonable press conference question on a Monday of an NFL weekend. Yet he's schlepping around at a adult cheerleading competition
in the corner, like you said, with the hoodie. Everything.
This is crazy. Change of fortune. I don't understand. That's it for the show today. Opened up with Lane Kiffin on the teleconference. It was something. We talked about it. Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Talked about it from the Florida perspective with Graham Hall. You can find that at Hunt on LSU as well. We talked a little Saints, moving on from Brandon Cooks, J.D. Pickell, SEC Power Rankings. Catch our show on demand if you missed it. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR. I'm out of here. We'll see you tomorrow for a Thursday edition. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.